Welcome back to Current Affairs Hitlist series. I'm Guna Mathivanan from Officers IAS Academy. In this video, I will be discussing regarding GST Council. Friends, I have made two videos previously regarding GST. Please watch that before coming to GST Council so that you will have more clarity here. And I will be making around 4 to 5 videos regarding GST basics so that you will have a holistic clarity on the topic GST. We all know in 2016, government introduced 101st constitutional amendment for introducing the most important tax reform, that is GST. So this 101st constitutional amendment also came with article 279A, and that 279A is dealing with GST Council. So GST Council is a constitutional body since GST Council is mentioned in article 279A. It is a constitutional body. This GST Council has representation from both central government as well as the state government. Central government will be represented by the finance minister as well as the Minister of State under Finance Ministry. So, Finance Minister and the Minister of State under Finance Ministry will be representing central government. The state governments will be represented by the state finance ministers. And also, Union Territory will also be represented by finance ministers from those union territories which are having legislatures. Delhi is having, Puducherry is having, very soon Jammu and Kashmir also will be having legislature. So those union territory which are having legislatures, they will be sending their finance ministers. So central government is represented, state government is represented, union territories with legislature will also be having representation. Any decision regarding GST in this council will be taken through majority consensus. Will be taken through majority consensus. That means majority of them should vote and that will be the decision. See here, the central government is represented by two members, one finance minister and one minister of state. So two members in total represent central government. And we have 28 states and we have as of now we have two union territories with legislature. So we will take only those two. So we put together we have 30 members. So if we require, so as I said, we need majority consensus to take a decision in GST Council. So in that case, by looking at the numbers, it is obvious that the states and UT, they will be having the majority and they will be taking all the decisions. To avoid this situation, differential voting weightage is given for central government as well as state government. For these two members, higher weightage will be given. For these two members alone, 1/3 voting weightage will be provided. And for all these 30 members put together, we will be having 2/3 voting weightage. So, central government will be having just two members, they will have 1/3 voting weightage, and here 30 members will be having 2/3 voting weightage. Why differential voting has been given? Because central government is represented only by two individuals. So if we give only two votes for central government, then decision will be lopsided, states will always win. So a differential voting weightage has been provided. Now we can ask another question. Sir, even now, 2/3 voting weightage goes for the states. That means they have the majority. So the decisions will be biased. It will be favoring states. To avoid this situation, in GST Council, to take a decision, we need 3/4 majority. We need 3/4 majority. We need special majority. Only then decision can be taken. So unilaterally, neither the state, neither the center or neither the state, they can take a decision because we need 75% majority. So central government alone cannot take a decision. State government alone cannot take a decision. So what we need is a cooperation between these federal units. Central government, state government should have a cooperation. There should be a cooperation between these federal units to take a decision in this GST Council. Without cooperation, decision cannot be arrived. That is why this GST Council is set as an example for cooperative federalism. Right? Usually these federal units are having hostile relationship in several cases. This GST Council is providing a ecosystem where decision can be taken only when there is cooperation. That is why we are referring GST Council as an example for cooperative federalism. Right? Got it? Now, this GST Council has a quorum which has to be achieved. So what is quorum? Quorum is the minimum attendance required to conduct that meeting. So in a GST Council, to conduct the meeting, we need some minimum attendance. What is the quorum for Lok Sabha? The quorum for Lok Sabha is 10%. Even 55 MPs come to the Lok Sabha, the meeting will be conducted. The quorum for Lok Sabha is 10%. But the quorum for GST Council is 50%. The quorum for GST Council is 50%. That means 28 states to UT to central government members of all, right? At least 50% should come to the meeting. Only then meeting will be conducted or else it will be cancelled. The quorum is 50%. So now we will look into the tasks of GST Council. The tasks of GST Council. What is the task? This GST Council will decide those goods and services which has to be subjected under GST and exempted from GST. See, today, not every item is inviting GST. Certain items has GST, certain items has no GST. So what goods should come under GST? What goods should be exempted from GST? This council will decide. So those goods and services which has to be subjected and exempted from GST, that will be decided by this council. Right? This GST Council will be deciding what should be the tax rate. So today under GST, we have 5% tax rate, 12% tax rate, 18% tax rate, 28% tax rate, and you won't believe we also have a 3% tax rate. We also have a 0.5% tax rate. When next time when you buy gold, you check the bill. In that bill, you will find 3% GST. The GST for gold is 3%. The GST for semi-precious metals and rough stones, for which GST is 0.5%. Right? So, this GST Council will decide what should be the tax rate. This GST Council will be deciding what are those goods and services which should be coming under each tax slab. Right? Say for example, services. Today, services will come under this 18% category. Luxury services will come under 28% category. Restaurant services, you go to Sarana Bhavan, you eat idli, dosa, for which you will invite 5% GST. So, what are the goods should be coming under different tax rates, they will be deciding. So, those goods and services, which service should come under which tax rate, the GST Council will be deciding. Right? Friends, this GST collected will be shared between central government as well as state government. The GST collected will be shared between central government and state government. What should be the share? That is called as apportionment. So what should be the share? Whether it should be 50-50 or 60-40, that will be decided by GST Council. Currently it is 50-50. Right? So when you go to restaurant or any place, when they give GST bill, you will find GST is 5%. But you will also see CGST is 2.5%, SGST is 2.5%. So this division is what we call it as apportionment. This 5%, how it is divided between center as well as state. GST Council will decide. Right? What should be the threshold for collecting? What should be the threshold for collecting GST? So, let's say I'm doing a business. Since I'm doing a business, immediately I need not collect GST from the consumers. If my business, let's say my business is dealing with goods, if my annual turnover exceeds 40 lakhs, when my annual turnover exceeds 40 lakhs, only in that situation, GST has to be imposed. Similarly, if I'm doing a business which is dealing with providing a service, let us say I'm running a parlor. Assume I'm running a parlor. If this parlor in a year, if it is fetching more than 20 lakhs, then GST has to be collected. So I go to a branded parlor. So when I go there, I do a haircut. In that bill, you will find GST. But if I go to a normal salon, in that bill, you will not find GST, because the normal salon would have not crossed 20 lakhs turnover. Are you clear? Similarly, with respect to goods, so Guna is coming up with some toys, chocolates. Assume Guna is coming up with some chocolates. Guna Chocolate Factory. If Guna Chocolate Factory, if it is making more than 40 lakhs per annum, then on Guna chocolates, you will find GST. Right? If Guna's chocolates, I'm running a small cottage industry, a micro enterprise, I'm coming up with chocolates. If my business is not getting a turnover of less than 40 lakhs, then on my chocolates, you will not find GST. Are you clear? So I'm involving with goods. If my turnover is more than 40 lakhs, GST will be imposed. If I'm involving with service, if my turnover is more than 20 lakhs, GST will be imposed. So this threshold, who decides? GST Council decides. The GST Council will also decide the date from which petroleum products should be brought under GST. Today, petroleum products and alcohol both are kept outside the purview of GST. Petroleum products as well as alcohol both are kept outside the purview of GST. Right? But what is unique about alcohol? We discussed. What is unique about alcohol? The Constitution itself defines what is GST. GST is the supply of goods and services excluding alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Constitution itself defines. So, from the very definition of GST, alcohol is kept outside. But what about petroleum products, sir? Petroleum products are kept outside based on the decision taken by the GST Council. So, if GST Council decides that we will bring petroleum products under GST, then next time when you go to petrol bunk, only GST will be imposed. Other taxes will not be imposed. Right? Today, if you go to petrol bunk, in that bill, you will not find GST. In that bill, you will find the central excise duties. You will find the state VAT. You will find the central government cess. You will find different taxes. So, if GST Council decides that petroleum products should be brought under GST, if they decide, then when you go to petrol bunk, in the petrol bill, you will find only GST. So, the date from which GST should be imposed on petroleum products, GST Council will decide. Now, what about alcohol, sir? Alcohol, special case. If you want to bring alcohol under GST, then you have to amend the Constitution itself. Right? So, anything and everything about GST will be decided by this GST Council. GST Council is also expected to come up with an appellate authority when states or center, when they find some dispute in this GST, then they should go for appeal. So soon, very soon, GST Council will be coming up with a solution by creating appellate authority. When they create, we will have a separate discussion on that. So apart from that, everything about GST, this council will decide, friends. Very important topic from an exam point of view. I hope you got some clarity on this GST Council. Please watch my other GST topics as well for having complete control. So here I have given information regarding the GST Council. You can go through GST Council. You can make notes out of it. You can make a snapshot, pause the video. So everything what I have discussed, I have given in these slides. Right. So based on our discussion, I have given a multiple choice question. Find out the right answer and give it in the comment section. Also share what is your opinion about this GST Council. Right. So I will see you in another interesting GST based video. Till then, bye. Take care.